Hi everybody, today I'm going to be doing my presentation on how to successfully create a haters turn to lovers situation, or how I think I cracked the code to successfully, make these relationships. So I kind of want to start this presentation asking you guys a question, which is, what does haters turn to lovers mean to you? And you can pause the video really quickly and just think about it. So, what haters turn to lovers means to me is when we have two people who deeply just don't like each other. They hate each other with every burning passion. No, excuse me. They just hate each other. And then they're consistently fighting and getting into these arguments. And then, later on, they're still arguing, but it kind of turns into this like lustful and burning passion type of way. And then, eventually slowly they start falling in love with each other. So I kind of want to show an example of that with these pictures. So the first picture, we have two people who just hate each other, and you can see that they don't like each other. They don't want to be near each other. In the second picture, we have two people who kind of are in an argument, but it's in like this very lustful way. Like they just want each other. Like you can see that off of that. And then the third picture that we have is just two people who have hate each other, kind of got in these arguments in a very lustful way, and then they end up falling in love with each other, and we see that when they are sharing a kiss. And most of the times you'll see that a lot within these storylines. But so we see that type of relationship in these two books that I read, Serpents and Doves and Kingdom of the Wicked. Both author, by the way, round of applause to both authors, because they nailed this type of relationship. Like you could, from start to finish, you could feel the hate, you could feel the lust of wanting each other, and then you could feel them falling in love with each other, Both again executed it perfectly. We have two characters in each book that just hate each other. Then they, have that lustful argument, and then in the end, falling in love. But ultimately, I'm just going to be focusing on Serpent and Dove just because I think Shelby nailed it a little bit better. So, yeah. So, phase one is the hate phase, or what I like to call the hate phase. Is basically we have two characters in the story, Lou, who's a witch, and Reed, who's a witch hunter. And so, basically, little spoiler, they're kind of put in this position where they're in a fight, and when I say in front of a bunch of people, they're kind of end up in this really awkward position where it makes it look like Reed is assaulting Lou, but that's not what happened. And so they're kind of forced into this marriage, and so they eventually start hating each other so much. They don't like each other. They don't want to be in this marriage. They're forced into it, and so they start arguing a lot. So then phase two is the argument, aka the burning passion, or what I like to call the burning passion, is basically when they're starting to argue a lot in their marriage. They don't like each other. They don't want to be near each other. They're not even sleeping next to each other. That's how much they don't like each other. But eventually we're starting to see, as their relationship progresses, that they secretly want each other. All this fighting kind of comes off as very lustful. Like they just want each other. They're always trying to make each other jealous. So there's a little clip here. You can pause it if you want. But basically it just sums up the fact that Lou is just trying to make Reed jealous. So yeah. Kind of to repeat myself because my audio kind of just cut out on me. So I kind of put an image to show how Lou is trying to make Reed jealous by she's not allowed to be left alone inside the witch hunter castle, I guess you could say, place where they train. So she has to have a chaperone around, and she's kind of implying oh, he's young, he's 16, I'm gonna be his first kiss, I'm gonna sleep with him. And that really just makes Reed so jealous because that's what he kind of wants. And they're always arguing. Like I said, they're always arguing, secretly wanting each other as much as they hate each other. So they're always arguing. And then, yeah. And then the last phase we have of this relationship is ultimately becoming lovers, you know, the last phase of it. You know, they start to then share a bed with each other and they start to get close to each other. They start actually caring for one of another to a point where when they first share their kiss is after Lou is attacked. So when Lou is attacked by some guys that have been looking for her, you know, Reed goes crazy. He's worried about her. They end up eventually, you know, going from kissing to sleeping with each other. And in the end, he would do anything, honestly, to protect her from anything. And so, you know, vice versa with Lou, she would do the exact same thing for Reed. You know, she cares about him too. We see that at a point where she also starts to get jealous of the relationship he had with this one girl he was planning on actually marrying. Um, yeah, so, you know, but in the end, Reed and Lou would literally give their life to save one another. So they went from hating each other to loving each other. So, kind of going back to the beginning of my presentation, how to successfully create haters turn to lovers, or a way that I think I may have cracked the code. Number one, you obviously have to have characters that hate each other. You have to write scenes that show so that when the readers are reading it, they understand that these characters hate each other. You can't just automatically dive into them just wanting each other, wanting each other already. That goes later on. So when they're arguing, you need to write those scenes where they're just irritated with each other. They don't like each other. They don't want to be near each other. Eventually, then you get to write the fun scenes, you know, where we're getting to see these arguments turn into this sort of passion, and it's coming off as very like this burning passion and very lustful, like they just want each other as much as they hate each other. They want each other, but they don't like realize that. And then ultimately in the end, you know, they become lovers. They fall in love with each other. They are willing to do anything for each other, and we see that at the end with Lou and Reed. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation. I hope it helps a little bit if you're trying to create these kind of relationships. So yeah.